These are Kilbyber peppers. They're from Turkey. They all darken to a deep red, and you can use them to make paprika, actually. Pretty low heat, but they should get 7 or 8 inches long. There's another one here. See that pepper there? So we got a few rows of peppers. Here we have watermelon. These are okra. More peppers. A few different varieties. We have quite a few actually. Beets and lettuce. This row is pretty much done, so we need to replace it with something. We use the wood chips in between the rows just to keep weeds down and keep some of the moisture in the ground. So this is the compost pile. This is a hot composting system here, where you carefully measure out both like green waste and then brown waste. Combine it in the correct ratio, turn it every other day. It gets really hot, about 150 degrees if you're doing it right. And so this is pretty much ready to use now. We'll use it to mulch around plants that are already established. Our peppers here. Not sure which varieties are which yet. I don't have any peppers on them yet. There's some of the kale, about done for the year. There's that watermelon. Bunch of kale varieties. This is the broccoli, about done for the year. Hopefully we get more heads coming up. I don't know if we're gonna get anything more out of them. We might get a few more heads out of there in a few weeks, we'll have to see. Oh, there's a spider. These are pole beans here. You can see they're growing pretty well. The trellis system here is about 5 feet tall maybe, so maybe a little short for pole beans, but we'll see how it does. These are cucumbers that are planted next to the beans, and if Christiana has time, she'll put up another trellis there for them to climb up, because otherwise they'll just sprawl on the ground and we wouldn't really be able to walk down there. I think these are yellow squash, I'm not positive. This is where I had grown the rye and the clover last year. And you can see all this green here is the clover that reseeded itself. Not really a problem because it doesn't take nutrients out of the soil. It actually puts nitrogen into the soil, basically. So it's a good weed to have. These are bush beans, I think, on this row. The cats always come in here whenever they see us in here. Hey, girl. Good girl. It's too hot for you to be in the sun. So these are the tomatoes here. These look like mostly Sungolds. Yellow cherry pepper. Christiana's harvested all the ones that are almost red. Cat's getting in the way. Christiana harvested all the ripe ones already to sell today at the market. So not really any ripe ones here. But yeah, these are trellised. We use the stakes and then strings that go on either side of the stems of the tomatoes. And then we have 2 rows of tomatoes per row here. These are mostly, I want to say they're called indigos or something. So those are green. There they are. Try and get a close up here. So these aren't ripe yet, but when they are fully ripened, the part that's like kind of purple there will stay purple, while the part that is green will actually turn red like a normal tomato. So real pretty color. This is straw that we put down on the ground around them. This is from the triticale that I planted last fall. I saved the straw, cut it up in smaller pieces. We use it for mulching, helps keep in the water. It'll break down eventually, but right now it's just helping keep in the water, and it also will help reduce soil splashing. So no, you don't want any soil getting onto your tomato leaves. Another row of tomatoes here. I think we got some Romas or San Marzano. I forget exactly what the variety is, but they're a sauce tomato. This is pretty much all okra. There you can see. Who knew, right? They grow upward. Never would have guessed. So crazy. I think we have a couple varieties of lettuce here. I think this is Butter Crunch, and I don't remember what the one at the end is called. It's producing all right. This is romaine. This was planted a long time ago, but it's only just coming into maturity. We've had some problems with lettuce this spring. That's the main thing we had problems with. Not great germination rates, and then also growing very slowly. But it still tastes pretty good. Most lettuce around here is actually done for the summer. First day of summer, but most lettuce is pretty much done this time of year because it starts getting too hot and bitter. And then this final row here is, I think, mostly beets. At least down on the end, that's beets. This was radishes. They've already been harvested. So that's our garden. It's like 25 feet by maybe 75 feet. So, biggest thing we found that we need is more compost. We found out that somehow soil up there, it looks like clay, and the soil down here is actually kind of a nice color. Well, you can't really see it here because we spread some compost on top, but if you look at a row like this one, it's got a reddish hue. Down here it looks more brown, but that side of the garden actually grows vegetables better than the lower end here. And we did a soil test. It says the soil down here is better than the soil up there, and yet it's still growing better up there. No idea why. So soil improvement is the biggest thing that we have to work on, but just help with weed control. We put down some weed cloth here outside the garden, and Christiana's planted lots of sunflowers and a few other, I want to say zinnias or something. That's what we have growing down there. So that just helps with weed control. Oh, there's one that already opened up. What do you know? Might be the first one. Yeah, this will help with weed control. We have a lot of centipede grass or Bermuda grass, which sends out runners, and if you're using wood chips, it actually loves wood chips. So it will send runners through the wood chips, and then the grass will start popping up in the beds over there. So that has been a major battle in some areas to control. Mostly up there by the raised beds. I can show you that in a minute. And then here's our lone dahlia that we planted this year from a tuber. That flower is huge. Look at that. Did not know they got that big. There's another one about to open up. So this is the main garden. If we go through the yard here, these are the muscadine grapes. Muscadine grapes there. And this is the corn patch. Planted the corn a little bit late, so we're having some issues where it went ahead and tasseled before the silk really came out, which means we have some silk there, some ears appearing, but probably a lot of these will be like under pollinated. So you'll open up an ear of corn and there will be like missing kernels basically. But if you plant too late and it gets too hot too soon, then you run into those issues. Got a few weeds down here. Need to work on that. So up here, more tomatoes here. These are ones that I planted here. And this is where we have the centipede grass. It's really taking over. It's very hard to control, especially between raised beds. It's almost impossible to control because you can put down your landscaping cloth, but that doesn't really do the trick. It's not good enough. You can see the landscaping cloth here. Weeds are just pushing it up there. So probably what I'm going to do this fall is just tarp all 4 of these raised beds